In this edition of Detroit Performs, a jazz master shares his knowledge with Detroit students.
But I believe that every human being has somewhat of a responsibility for the sake of the continuation of local, regional culture so that it'll pass from one generation to the next. We all must become teachers.
CriticCar Detroit shares citizen reviews of the arts.
Honestly, Blowout's such a passion project for me. It's one of the reasons I came to Metro Times. It's my favorite event. I'm a fan first and foremost. I've been going to Blowout pretty much since, I was a kid, and it's honestly one of my favorite events.
A budding artist takes up residence back home in Detroit.
I think Detroit inspires me by the relationships that I've built since I have moved home. Everyone in the city is doing really awesome things.
And a choreographer puts her life into her work.
And then I thought about it and I was like, well, my dad was a pastry chef. Of course those things find their way, into my work. The smell of, baking bread reminds me of my father. What if my father was a cowboy? There'd be 50 horses on stage.
It's all ahead on today's episode of Detroit Performs.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to Detroit Performs. Hello, I am DJ Oliver. Now I'm standing across the street in front of Detroit's historic Music Hall Center for the Performing Arts. It is a magnificent theater that has been fully restored to the way it was when Matilda Dodge first opened its doors in 1928. Now our first segment features a guy who performed in this venue. Chris Collins is a world-renowned saxophonist and educator who believes in sharing his knowledge with a younger generation. Now we caught up with Chris as he's about to take an all-star band of Detroit Public School students to the prestigious Mackinac Policy Conference.
Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Hi, I'm Chris Collins. I'm the artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival. It's been a great pleasure for me to go beyond that role a bit in expanding our educational mission throughout the year, particularly in the Detroit Public Schools. And we've formed very close relationships and collaborative relationships with not only the individual schools themselves, but with Willie McAllister, the Director of Fine Arts for Detroit Public Schools, the individual band directors and choir directors, as well as many of the students. A while back, I had a discussion with some of my people at the Detroit Jazz Festival about going up to the Mackinac Policy Conference and having me just be a representative of Detroit and jazz and the Detroit Jazz Festival, this great cultural event. And we thought it would be valuable to find ways to take full advantage of an opportunity to put arts and culture, especially arts and culture focused on the city of Detroit, in the middle of this political gathering of minds. And the best way I could think to do it is to bring that face of jazz, of youth, of education, of the mentor-disciple relationship that is so important to this art, and bring that up to Mackinac, not just to talk about this stuff, but to show everybody the results and the beauty that art and jazz can bring to a community, in this case through the youth of the community.
D minor, G7, C. D minor, G7. Now check this out. This always tell the ending. F sharp, F, E, A, B, C, and then you're back to the top.
One of the charts I brought in for the band to rehearse is a Curtis Fuller arrangement of Three Blind Mice, the nursery rhyme tune we're all familiar with. Curtis is a Detroiter and still very fond of his hometown. He came up in an orphanage here in Detroit, actually, and went on very early in his career to play with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. And so this was an arrangement that Curtis did for that band, and it's a really unique treatment of a rather simple nursery rhyme tune we all know, but with complex harmonies and some interesting edgy voicings in the horns to give it that real American jazz flavor that turns it into a great piece of music to blow on. The mentor-disciple relationship is such an important part of every aspect of life. For sure the creative arts, but even whether you're a mechanic or you're a welder or you're an accountant or indeed an artist of some type, there's moments in our lives where we have the opportunity to share our knowledge with the next generation. Some of us take that more literally than others, but I believe that every human being has somewhat of a responsibility for the sake of the continuation of local, regional culture so that it'll pass from one generation to the next. We all must become teachers.
So if you start just by getting that in your head, just the root, then you'll be in good shape. You won't lose a form like that. If you hear that sharp 4, how unusual it sounds, you can always key into that and then you'll never get lost.
When I come into the schools, when we have our youth vocal competition or our national instrumental competitions that we feature at the Detroit Jazz Festival, we always find that Detroit artists, young Detroit musicians, have a unique, highly creative approach to the vocabulary and the manipulation of the craft itself. And I honestly believe that goes way beyond just the culture of jazz in Detroit, but Detroit itself. It's a unique balance. You can live here at a reasonable price. You can experience a global diversity, probably at its height and peak, more so than many places. And you live in a city that has a strong symbiotic relationship with jazz music. Very few cities can boast the history that Detroit has with jazz. That certainly inspired me when I was young to know that Joe Henderson and Donald Byrd and Curtis Ford, these guys came from here. They came from my area. That was really exciting, and I believe the students feel that same energy. I think one of the great stories of Detroit is Detroit youth. And I believe the Detroit Public Schools are upholding art and culture in a way that respects the unique history of the city of Detroit. They teach that to their students. We're producing young people that really understand art and creativity, and they found ways to demonstrate that in their lifestyle. So here we're going up north to show the entire Michigan political establishment a positive story about Detroit youth. And maybe in the end, it's the beauty and simplicity of that message that I hope will resonate from this jazz project.
To stay informed about events happening at the Detroit Jazz Festival or Detroit Public Schools, visit DetroitPerforms.org. Now here are citizen reviews of arts events happening in the city, thanks to CriticCar Detroit.
Hi everyone, my name is Maggie Batch and I am the event and marketing manager for Metro Times, which means I manage the entire Blowout Festival from start to finish. So from the planning stages to picking the bands and working with our booking team, setting up all the venues, everything like that, the whole process. So that's what I do for Metro Times, and honestly, Blowout's such a passion project for me. It's one of the reasons I came to Metro Times. It's my favorite event. I'm a fan first and foremost. I've been going to Blowout pretty much since I was a kid, and it's honestly one of my favorite events. And as a music fan, I think it's very important. It's important to the local scene. It's important to showcase what's new in Detroit and showcase kind of the bands that you don't normally get to see or maybe aren't as familiar with. It's always something new to find at Blowout. You'll find something that maybe you're into hip hop and there's an alt country band that you never heard of and you get to experience, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, who are those guys? And you want to see them and learn about them. And honestly, that's my favorite part. It's getting to see new things, seeing what's going on in Detroit, and as you know, there's always new bands to check out, always somebody doing something new, and that's what's really exciting about the festival.
You can view more of CriticCar Detroit citizen reviews on their Facebook page and YouTube channel, which you can find through DetroitPerforms.org. Now, are you hip to Jessica Hernandez and the Deltas? Well, join the fan club, because people around the world are talking about this amazing band, which features the powerful voice and songwriting skills of Detroit's own Jessica Hernandez.
Hi, my name is Jessica Hernandez, and the first time I sang was when I was 3, and that's pretty much when I figured out I wanted to sing for a living.
Worlds come down, ain't up, drop down, know just what I'd found. Worlds come down, ain't up, drop down, no place left to hide. So I go around, feeling so brand new, slip outside, praise, give up on you. I go around.
I definitely get my work ethic from my dad. He came with his family from Havana in the 60s, and you know, they came here with nothing, so they opened a bakery there. They also had a bakery in Miami before that, and they just were the hardest workers I've ever met. My grandma's 70 and she works every single day. With music, you know, when I was going to school, it was actually funny because most kids' parents are like telling them, you need to get an education, you need to go to college, and my dad was the opposite. When I went to college, my parents were like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I told them I was dropping out to do music, and they were like, this is amazing, this is so exciting, we're so proud of you. Okay, cool, this is awesome.
Said that you owned it. Said that you needed it. Said that I got it all.
When I moved back from Chicago, actually, I kind of rediscovered the loft. My parents have had the bakery since I was in 3rd grade, and I never really paid attention to it. It was just like a space that my dad held a bunch of crap in. So I moved back, and then I moved home to play music and to like save money and live with my parents. And when I came home, it was kind of like a fun project for me, like to stay busy and not think about the fact that I was living at home. I just dropped out of school to do music. Kind of a low point. I took on the loft just like as like a project to, you know, keep my mind occupied. At the same time, I was starting to do different activities in there once I started fixing it up. So I would do free yoga every Saturday and have different friends that were yoga instructors come and give free lessons to people around the neighborhood. And then we started doing Detroit Soup there. So we just kept getting all of these reasons to keep working on the space and expanding a little bit. Started doing shows, and that's actually where we did the showcase for Blue Note.
I got closer, lying to myself. I came to take my things, don't need no help. Oh.
I think Detroit inspires me by the relationships that I've built since I have moved home. Everyone in the city's doing really awesome things. When I was living in other cities before, it was more of like a toxic lifestyle. You're encouraging each other's vices, make bad decisions, and you're just like surrounded by it, so you're like, oh my God, you did that awful thing last night? Me too, that's so funny. I moved home and it was just complete 180 where like I went from that to everyone was just so involved with their community and so involved with like trying to make Detroit a better place. And everyone actually had this perspective where they were like, no, I am making a difference. I am awesome. And there was just this positive attitude I'd never experienced. And it was cool to come home to that because I wasn't expecting to stay in Detroit. Oh, I don't want to be back home. And then I, you know, rediscovered the city, I guess.
Take away the pictures and lock away the promises and more. If the others want me coming out, I would still be fighting for your time.
We gave Jessica the free reign to come in at night to work on a record, to demo out songs and work on ideas. Rust Belt's a great creative space for artists to come in and hang out and do what they need to do, and it is very rich in tradition. A lot of that comes from Al Sutton, who owns it, he's Kid Rock's engineer.
It always took me forever because I like don't play any instrument well. I play a lot of instruments, but none of them well. So it's just like, all right, time to record drums. Doing a million takes till I like got it right, and then like, bass time, and then it's trying a million things till I like, you know, it feels right.
Oh, I'm sorry I stole your man. Oh, I'm sorry he loves me most.
Everything's a little bit dirty and it's used and stuff. It just, everything has character here, and I think that is a very good analogy to Jessica too, is her music is outside the norm and there's a little grime to it, but it's also it also just makes you feel good.
Everyone that I've been working with have kind of, really, they've all grown on me and they've all become my second family, which is cool. It's fair to say that Detroit's a family-oriented place. Like ICP says, it's all about family.
Thank you guys so much. We're Jessica Hernandez and the Deltas, and we love you. You guys rule. Thank you.
To find out more about Jessica Hernandez and the Deltas' rise to stardom, you can visit DetroitPerforms.org. Now, I am now with the president and artistic director of the Music Hall, Vince Paul. Welcome to Detroit Performs, man.
Thanks very much. Welcome to the Music Hall.
Thank you for having us, man. Now, this place has quite a bit of history, right?
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 1928.
Okay.
It was built by a woman in 1928, Matilda Dodge Wilson. She built the Music Hall and she built Meadowbrook. Same architect, William Kapp.
Okay.
And what's really extraordinary about Matilda was this is the first real legitimate performing arts center in America that had open access. That means anybody arriving, could come to the Music Hall and with the same quality of seats, same experience as everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Now, it wasn't always used as a live stage, though, right? Like, it was actually used for something to keep the ceiling structure intact?
The ceiling itself is kind of a trick of the tail. Walt Disney, as in the Walt Disney Company, they developed their surround sound and they installed it here in the Music Hall in Detroit City. And then they installed this enormous Cinerama screen that wrapped around the entire stage house, but also right where we're standing. It wrapped all the way around the travertine. Mm-hmm. And they painted the whole place this kind of brown color. Mm-hmm. So people, were very, very upset when they painted the ceiling that brown color. But boy, did it come in handy.
Yeah.
Because when they went to restore the ceiling in 1994, there was the original ceiling underneath that brown paint.
Now, what are some of the acts that you have performing here?
Well, we have 3 levels. We start downstairs with the Jazz Cafe. There have been 20,000 artists that have performed in the Jazz Cafe in the past 5 years. So it's a very labor-intensive room. And then we move into the main hall here. Yeah. And the main hall, we do stage plays. We ran Fela, the Broadway musical, for a month. It's not a small house. It has 1,731 seats, but yet it feels real intimate, like you're in your own living room, you know?
Yeah. So speaking of the Jazz Cafe and the Music Hall and the 350 Terrace, what would you say is so important about them to the Music Hall and the city?
Well, the 350 is our latest. It is a nightclub, which means we really draw the young folks. And they're dancing, and we do concerts up there, and I think it's our reach into all of the different demographics and cultural points of view that is our number one niche or contribution.
What's your vision for the future of these venues around here, these performance arts venues?
I think that we should join together, and we certainly are working towards that. It really comes down to taking all of the abundance that's happening here and inviting everyone, not being venue specific. We join all of these houses. We could call it Detroit Center for the Performing Arts. And I think that's really, it would be a great initiative. I really see that Detroit in general, philosophically, is that's a big part of its vision, its new vision of the new Detroit, is we are all working together to make one great city, one unified community.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that.
Fragmentation.
Well, thank you, Vincent, for joining us here. We appreciate that. Thank you for spending time with us and informing us about this building, man. We appreciate that.
Sure. Thanks very much for having me.
Now here's a look at some upcoming events happening around Detroit. Music Hall presents 5 international ballet companies each year, and our next performer, Rosie Herrera, would know a thing or two about putting together those kind of shows. She is a choreographer who uses her life experiences, memories, and emotions to create dance moves and performances that combine her eclectic interests.
My name is Rosie Herrera, and I'm a choreographer and a director. I've been performing my whole life, and I have a pretty eclectic performance background. I was commissioned in 2009 to create a piece by the Miami Light Project entitled Various Stages of Drowning, a cabaret. And I was lucky enough that Charles Reinhardt was in the audience in that performance, and he took me to the American Dance Festival, and after that it was just a snowball of events and activities, and I've been full-time choreographing and directing since then. I went to college. I knew I loved theater, but I hated talking on stage. Every time I talked on stage, it just didn't feel right. And so I went to the University of Florida where I studied miming. And from miming, I found dance. I guess I didn't figure that out before. Oh, I want to express myself with my body. Oh, I'm a dancer. Actually started studying classical music because when I was in theater, I had an abnormally high speaking voice, as I still do. I went to a vocal instructor and I was like, I am sick and tired of being typecasted as a child or a hooker or people with like character voices. I was like, I want to have a regular, normal voice. And so I started doing vocal training, and that led me to opera, and I fell in love. And so when I was in school for dance, I was this hip hop, dancing, opera, singing, cabaret, modern dancer who loved drag queens. I never felt really completely fed with just one form. I felt like there was so much to learn when exploring other forms that in 2009, when I was commissioned to do a piece, I pulled the break dancer from my hip-hop background, the drag queen from the cabaret, the ballerina from school, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is why I had to do so many different things, because now my company consists of performers of all different genres, from performance art and theater and actors and dancers and opera singers and drag queens and b-boys. It's kind of runs the whole gamut of performance. And so I knew it made sense, but it took me getting commissioned for it to all make sense to me. It's kind of like saying, how does being Latin affect your work? I'm Latin. I don't know how it would affect my work because I've always been Latin. But the thing about, when I graduated from New World, I said very clearly I want to be in Miami. There's something about the light here, there's something about the bodies here that really inspire me in a way that no other place does. I think every aspect of where you live affects your work, whether you realize it or not, from the architecture to the weather to the nightlife. And I think that is present in my work very clearly. For example, it's really important to me that the hip-hop element is represented in my work because I feel like Miami has had a long tradition of really being innovators in breakdancing. There's a sexiness in Miami that is more tangible. There's an openness in the body because it's warm. It's warm here, so people wear less clothing. People are more touchy-feely. People kiss on the cheek even if they don't know each other. It's very different. For example, in Various Stages of Drowning, it was a series of dreams that I had over a 3-year period. And usually when I create a piece, or I have a subject matter, I take that into the studio and I start to dissect it and rearrange and abstract it to see it from 1,000 different angles, and that's how I create material. But with Various Stages of Drowning, I had almost like every scene completely choreographed in my head, and then I met the dancers and I just put it on them. And so it was very different, where in the past the movement kind of came out of the theme. This was the first time that the image was created first, and then the movement came to serve that image. It's kind of backwards, I think, for dancers. I probably go through 200 to 300 balloons a performance. I think half of my budget is helium. Helium and pastries. Pastries keep finding their way into my work. And I had to really sit down and say, wow, this piece has 10 birthday cakes and this one has 3 pies. And what's next? What else am I going to do? And then I thought about it and I was like, well, my dad was a pastry chef. Like, of course, those things find their way, like, into my work. Like, the smell of, like, baking bread reminds me of my father. Like, what if my father was, like, a cowboy? There'd be, like, 50 horses on stage. There is so much amazing talent here. People need to see this. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be able to finally do that. So I guess it's just a really exciting and great time for me that I'm learning, as per my New Year's resolution, to really enjoy.
For more information on Rosie Herrera and all the artists featured in today's show, visit DetroitPerforms.org. And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. For more information on arts and culture, visit DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook. Now, thanks to the Music Hall for letting us hang out here today and next week. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show them how Detroit performs. I am DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.